Hi, it's Jackie Tantillo, host of Should Have Listened to My Mother podcast. Are you who you are today because of or in spite of your mother? I've come to understand and appreciate the significant role that mothers play in our lives. Not everyone was best suited to become a mom, but by sharing these personal experiences, we come to realize how much we have in common with each other. With over 4 decades of broadcast experience, interviewing iconic musicians, award-winning authors and journalists, entrepreneurs, artists, and more, these personal one-on-one conversations really get to the heart of the matter, to explore the essence of how, who, and why we became who we are today. I can't wait for you to hear this next episode. All of us here at Should Have Listened to My Mother feel fortunate to be able to share stories of moms from around the world. The famous shout out of "Hi Mom" or "Love you Mom" if someone gets a second or two on live TV. It's kind of a universal language. Thank you all for your support in helping spread the word about Should Have Listened to My Mother, and thanks to all the moms and female role models. We wouldn't be who we are today without you. Many of us can conjure a vision or memory of our mother making a big pot of soup. Especially if someone in the family is sick, mom's soups are the perfect antidote for good nutrition, even heartbreak, loneliness, and or an illness. Soup is comforting to many, any time of the day, and I'm happy to introduce Lori, Peha Kezner and Llance Kezner to Should Have Listened to My Mother because they're helping us be able to enjoy a healthy cup of soup as quick and easy as heating your water, anytime, any place. Millie's sipping broth is named after Lori's mom, and I can't wait to hear how all of this came about. Hi, Lori and Llance, and welcome to
Hi.
Should Have Listened to My Mother.
Hi there.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks for having us.
Sure. Where are you joining me from, or joining us from, I should say? What part of the country?
We're in Bellevue, Washington.
Great. Perfect place to have a lot of soup.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So is that where you grew up, Lori?
I grew up in Seattle, Washington, actually.
Wonderful.
And yeah. My family, we grew up in South Seattle, Washington. I grew up with 3 other siblings. It was a 2 boys, 2 girls family, and my mom and dad and the family dog. And I think what was unique for me growing up was that my youngest brother is developmentally disabled. And so that gave our family a different dynamic. And just you talking about that intro just brought tears to my eyes, because when I think about how hard my mom worked to give us all just a normal life, in spite of the challenges.
Yeah.
Gosh, her life was challenging, but that's all she wanted was the best for her kids. So you just made me reflect on, hey, Mom, that kind of thing. And it.
Thank you, Mom.
Moms can be so amazing. Yes. Oh my gosh. And I know that, well, we haven't gotten into this yet, but we named our broth after my mother, Millie.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like, and she wasn't here when that happened. So I feel like she's probably watching somewhere and just amazed that her little picture is on a whole bunch of boxes all over the world.
Yeah. And we are definitely going to talk about it because I think it's fascinating. Because, like I mentioned to you before we started the interview, we're all on the go all the time, right? So it's, instead of grabbing a cup of coffee or tea to fortify us, why not throw in that little bag of soup in our cup? But again, I want to hear about Millie. So you mentioned she had some struggles. Was she born and raised in this country?
She was. She was born and raised here. Her mother was from Rhodes, the Isle of Rhodes, and they have Spanish background. My parents and both of them actually, and
Spanish, as in from Spain.
From Spain. Well, I think my dad was Spanish and my mother was Turkish, so a mix. And her parents died when she was fairly young. So, but I think for her, just bringing the family together with food was such a big deal. It is in so many cultures. And so, just the idea of a soup, like you said, mom's soup when you're sick, just creating a soup and naming it after her was just really a nice tribute for me to give to her. And as far as her struggles, I think it's just challenging when you have a child in the family that's got some disabilities. It really does handicap the family, although we are so blessed. I'm so grateful for my upbringing. It did make me who I am today. And my mom was a very generous person. And we, with our creation of this product, we've tried to do everything we can to help people who might need it. So I feel like I have to tell a little bit about it.
Please.
Can I tell it? The story?
The soup? Yeah, go ahead.
It started because I'm a teacher, or I was a teacher for many years, and I used to take a bouillon cube to work every day. And my husband, I was talking to him about it one day, and he goes, there's so much junk in that, salt, and let me put a healthier version of that together. I'm going to mix up some dry seasonings and spices. And so he and I worked on a flavor, and our first flavor was tomato basil, and we were emptying Lipton tea bags in our kitchen and dumping out the tea and putting in our own ingredients. And we came up with this tomato basil soup broth. And I took it to work, and all I had to do was steep it for 4 minutes, and I had my savory cup of soup. And that's the convenience of the product. And then just the whole idea of naming it after my mom, it just brought back that feeling of a cozy, comforting moment, with the family gathered and my mom making her matzo ball soup. So we have a great story about that. My husband's in-laws were over for a holiday, and my mother made her matzo ball soup. And my mother-in-law says, "Millie, this soup is amazing. You've got to give me the secret." And my mom says, "It's a secret, Betty, but I'll give it to you at the end of the end of the day." And so she came later. She came in, and you know what it was? It was Swanson's canned broth. But you know what? That was the big secret, and people used a lot of that stuff then. That was a survival tool. So
sure,
yeah, absolutely.
Well, that was one of the initial conveniences, right?
And I have to say, my mom was a really excellent chef and a home cook, and so when Millie came out with the can of Swanson's, it just blew my mom away. And remembering that story, that's why I told Lori, I said, we really have to name this product after your mom because of that little secret, just a little secret.
Yeah,
little secret, but look at where it got the wheels turning. So you mentioned earlier that your maternal grandfather passed away when your mom was very young?
Yeah, he was in some kind of I think it was hit by a car. She was like 16. So she had a sister and a brother, and her brother was in the military. So she had to it just blew my grandma. It was so hard for her to lose, a spouse at that point in her life, and she couldn't function for a while. So my mom at 16 just supported the family, went to work at a clothing store and supported the family for a while. And yeah, life was different then. You sure, I look back on the way people lived, and I appreciate so much now. We have so many conveniences and so much help from other resources. So, that was a struggle for her.
But she didn't have an option either, right? I mean, there was...
No, there was no option.
It's remarkable. You're an adult all of a sudden at 16 or 17, and good for her.
Yeah. Amazing. The strength, yeah. My mother was, besides being a really generous, wonderful person, there was a real strength about her, and I didn't see her cry very often. And I remember she was talking about the day she heard that her father had was in the hospital. He'd been hit by an army truck, actually. And oh boy, she was sitting next to me on the couch and she just started crying. She said, I'd never seen my papa like that. And do you have your parents? Are they still alive?
No, they're gone a number of years, but they're with me every minute. Linda's in my studio with me, my mom.
Oh, that's wonderful. But when you think about their life, it's a feeling of they were here yesterday, but they've been gone so long, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
it's such a close feeling. And so when she said that about her dad, I realized that the people around us that we've lost, we just have this feeling that we've just lost them just so soon, just a little while ago, even though it's been years. Anyway, that was such a touching moment for me.
And to be able to have that experience with your mother, that she opened up to you. Because often I'll speak to guests and they're like, no, I never got to talk to my parents about that. Or, we always think that our parents have it all together and, they don't usually shed what they're going through, their emotions.
Right. They want to stay strong for their children. Right. Exactly.
Did you speak openly often with your mom?
Oh, sometimes too openly. I think I shocked her a few times. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
boy.
I think we were best friends. We really, she was just the sweetest lady, In fact, the last time we saw her, she took us I had one little boy at the time, and two. We went to what was it, Llance? The Rainforest Cafe?
The Rainforest Cafe.
It was the day before Valentine's Day, and she said, I'm taking you for Valentine's dinner. And she passed away overnight the next day. It was just out of the blue.
Wow.
But, and I'll tell you, it's funny, the night before she died, that night, she was supposed to have a colonoscopy the next day. And
she didn't want to.
Well, she was having a hard, you have to drink all that stuff, all that stuff. And she was having a hard time. And Llance had set up some kind of phone system so she could call her sister in New Orleans for free. So she said to Llance, these were her last words. It was really weird. She said, Llance, do I owe you anything for that? And he said, no, just your undying love. And so she said, okay, you got it. And those were the last words spoken. And I just feel like that was some kind of a message. I'm going to start crying now. But it's now pretty amazing that those are the last words I heard from her. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty special event and words and the fact that you were all together. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
Well, Llance, you're here, and I don't want to exclude you. Were both of the in-laws close, both moms?
We were very fortunate that our in-laws did get along, and they were friendly. They weren't, too close, but still, I think, kind of cut from a similar cloth. And that's what attracted me to Lori and her family, because it's a package deal, right?
Sure.
It's the person, it's the family, it's the siblings, it's everybody. And but yeah, my mom and my mom Betty and Millie got along really well.
Wow, you're very lucky.
Yeah,
that's so great. You were very fortunate to have this relationship with your mom, and one of your brothers took more of her time than many moms have to divide their time. Yeah. I assume that the big objective was, as you mentioned, we want this to be a normal childhood for the remaining 3 children, right, that don't have the special needs.
Right.
So it's above and beyond what is required of parents to take care of one child in particular.
Right.
How did she cut loose, if she ever cut loose? Did she go out with girlfriends? What was her personality like?
She did. She had to, and thank goodness my siblings and I we're always very supportive. So when we could step in, we did, even as younger kids. And my dad was great. And she played mahjong, and she had, she went to fundraising meetings, and she worked for a while. She worked for the local school, and she wanted something different, so she became one of the lunch ladies and just had so much fun with the kids. And yeah, she did. She had to get out once in a while, but that was a big challenge. And ironically, I think her dream was, I know it was, her dream was always for one of her kids to have their own business so that maybe Jerry could work for them. And Jerry works for us. He works with us.
Wow. Oh, please
It's
say hi
wonderful.
to Jerry
I
for
will,
me.
I will,
That's
I
so
will.
wonderful.
It is wonderful. He comes to work every day or 4 days a week, and he labels and he gets packages ready. And it is so important to him because he has a purpose. So that probably, more than having her name on a product, that's her dream come true. Just to know that he has a purpose in life right now.
Yeah, she's still spinning her work, her miracles, that Millie.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So complete this sentence for me. I ask my guests. This is a story of a woman who
spent most of her life selflessly caring for others, but always looked back and felt that she was blessed. Always was grateful, always appreciative, always just a good, dear person. That's
pretty great.
It's funny when she passed away, we cleaned everything up, and I remember I saw her checkbook. I swear every charity she got anything in the mail to donate to. $10 here, $10 there, and they didn't have a lot of money. $10 here, so generous, and it was something to aspire to. I have to say. But,
yeah, that's my sister had to inherit that duty of executor once my mom passed. So those annual charitable donations is very vivid in my mind. Llance, what's your interpretation of who Millie was?
Yeah, very much what Lori said. I think the biggest memory I had was that she never got involved in anyone's bickering or arguing, or especially with all the siblings. And, when you have 4 siblings, there's always stuff going on, right? Especially when the siblings are married and they have children, and, there's always things going on. So she was very deliberate in not voicing her opinion about these things. And I think that, you kind of look to stability, and that really was, a stable, she was a stable presence. Even though there were times where, one of them would really want to pull her in and sway her and get her to voice her opinion about something, but she wouldn't do it, and that was really the one thing that stood out to me the most. And I loved it when she made mistakes when she was cooking with too much cheese. So that was, I would always look forward, she would apologize and I'd say, you can never use too much cheese, Millie,
That's so great. Oh my gosh, it's those little things when we start thinking of somebody and all suddenly it's as though they're right in front of us, right? You can just see their heart and their love.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. Since we're speaking of Millie, I guess we got to talk about her wonderful soups that are out there. I know that I listened to a great podcast, and I'm sure many of my listeners know How I Built This with Guy Raz. And Llance, I heard you interviewed on that podcast. And it's how people are building a business and what advice the gentleman from the beer company.
Samuel Adams.
Samuel Adams. Yeah. What a wonderful podcast for anyone, whether you're interested in business or not. It's just wonderful how people come up with ideas. So there are many, many flavors of this healthy, beautiful Millie's sipping broth. So who would like to take the lead here on telling us about this?
Go ahead, Llance.
I can tell you a little bit more. Yeah, there's 4 flavors right now. We have more flavors planned, but tomato basil, spicy tortilla, Thai lemongrass, and delight pho. Lori and I always thought it would be fun to name a pho restaurant, with all the fun names, and so that's why we call it Delight Pho. So basically it's broth in a tea bag, and it's a simple idea. And everyone we tell this to always says, "Why didn't I think of that?" Or, why hadn't someone come up with that before? And we're so thankful they didn't, because we were
because we did.
Yeah, because we did this 12 years ago in our kitchen, is when we created it. And basically what we've created is a new category of hot, savory drink. And right now it's sold in the soup aisle of grocery stores around the country, and literally people use it on a daily basis. They drink it maybe in between meals when they want something to make them feel like they're satisfied, or they may use it in conjunction with a wellness program or something like that.
And they're gluten-free. They're sugar-free. Wait, there's a whole list of
gluten-free, keto, vegan, kosher. It's everything. It doesn't offend anybody, and everyone can drink it. And we're very focused on the flavor. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, why don't you add this to it, and why don't you add that to it?" And our answer is, you can always add your own stuff to it. You can always add protein powders to it. You can always add, dehydrated vegetables. But the bottom line is we focus on the flavor of the broth. And we've been drinking broth for thousands of years. Our moms would make us feel better with broth, right? That's the key. And so, bottom line is we want people to feel comforted. We want people to reduce stress and anxiety in their day. And sitting down and taking 4 minutes to make a cup of comforting, savory broth is our way of connecting with people.
Right. Can I ask, why did you pick the tomato basil as your first? That was one of your moms, or why did you pick that first?
No, actually, when Lori and I were messing around with the idea in our kitchen, that was the first one that came to mind, because it's the most popular soup flavor in the country. And so we figured...
I'm vegetarian, so I wanted something other than the typical chicken flavor or beef flavor. I wanted something unique and different, and that's what we came up with.
Right. And you were taking it with you, so of course you're going to pick what you want.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
So it's basically like a tea bag, but it's a soup broth bag. Put in your cup and you pour hot water on it and you're good to go.
Yeah, you just let it steep like tea, and I drink it. I keep the bag in the cup, and I give it a good shmush. That's a very technical term. You take your spoon and you shmush it against the side of the cup, and it gets more intense as you drink it. But it's really, really nice break from coffee and tea and cider and any of the sweetened drinks that are out there.
It's a one-time cup of soup, one-time cup of broth.
Soup? Oh, I think that word has been used.
Yeah, no. One-time cup of broth in a broth bag. We were really fortunate to be able to, during the pandemic, we reached out to so many hospitals and nursing staffs and sent them the broth just for the care teams. They worked so hard, and they were so appreciative. I think any little gesture at that time just made them feel appreciated. And boy, it's hard to remember that time, but it wasn't that long ago. So that was something we were able to do with our product, which was really nice. And now when we have friends and family or people we know that have cancer, it's also a comforting alternative for people to hydrate themselves with. So
and we give it to their care teams. People. A lot of people forget that the care team is, really important in the process of someone getting better, and they so much appreciate it more than cookies and candy and everything like that.
Is it still in Walmart?
Yes. Yeah. So we just got into Walmart in October. We were awarded a golden ticket from a Walmart open call a year before. We had to keep it quiet. So we couldn't really tell anybody until we actually got into the stores. But that whole process was fascinating.
Otherwise, there are stores nationally, or is it more regional, Pacific Northwest, where people can find it?
Walmart is the national chain, but there are regional chains around the country that have it, like Wegmans in Pennsylvania and New York, Big Y, Roche Brothers, Metropolitan Market here in Seattle. So there are those that, and we're slowly picking up, chains, but Walmart is really going to be kind of the thing that's going to drive the awareness, because the idea is it's odd until you taste it and you go, oh, that makes total sense.
I think it's great. No oddity on my end. Lori, if your mom Millie was going to be in the kitchen right now making a pot of soup, what soup would she be making?
What soup would she be making? She'd probably be making a big vegetable soup. A big vegetable soup with probably, I grew up with chicken broth with all that stuff, not the tomato, but probably chicken broth. And, although one of our flavors, I swear people say to us, are you sure there's no chicken in that? No, there's no meat, no nothing. So,
Llance, how about you? Is your mom, you said she's an amazing chef.
Yeah.
What soup? What's her soup of the day?
She would make, she would no bones about it. She literally would take, a beef roast and put it in, and then just make something that would fall apart. She would cook it so long. Carrots, potatoes, and just super hearty, especially today in Seattle when it's like 42 degrees. It'd be a perfect fit for that. But that's what she would make. I know it.
Soups are the best. So that's, with this cold weather, the soup is perfect. So have you thought about when it warms up, when it's hot out? Any ideas for your sipping broths?
I make a mean iced Thai. I take the Thai lemongrass and I make it, and then I put it in the fridge, and I put a few ice cubes in, and it's really good.
Maybe
cold,
that's your next line. Lori and Llance, I thank you so much for joining me on Should Have Listened to My Mother, and I feel like I should go make a big pot of soup now. Or maybe I'll just pick up one of Millie's sipping broth. Oh, and Llance and Lori have been so gracious to offer all of my listeners a 20% off discount code for anything at milliesippingbroth.com. And the code is MOM20. So 20% off discount from milliesippingbroth.com. And the code is MOM20. Make sure you let them know how much you love it.
Thank you, Jackie. And thank you for helping me bring back some really sweet memories of my mom. That means a lot.
You're so welcome. That's what this is all about. And thank you, Llance. And we will be back next week with another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother.
So thank you. Thank you.